Howdy, folks. Dominic here, retirement planner over in San Antonio, and I'm here to go through an exam called the Series 65. I am on my journey to acquire this licensure so that way I can also give investment advice and receive a fee for it. And this is to help me learn the content and to help you guys with your study materials. So I'm gonna go over chapter 2.1. This is equity. Okay, so I have my notes right here. So let's get into it. So one of the common equities is common stock. All right, it's the price is kind of governed by supply and demand. So like there's like 100 shares of Apple, and I want one, you want one, 1,000 other people want one. So not enough shares for everyone, so the price goes up. There could be shares of ABC dump company. I don't want one. You don't want one. 1,000 other people don't want one, so the price goes down. Okay. Now the only ways to really make money with common stock is through dividends or capital appreciation. Okay. And these dividends are paid in typically cash dividends. So when you own common stock, you get some rights. So some of these rights are like the right to get first offering for new shares. So if a company says, hey, we're going to issue new shares, you as a shareholder will gain the ability to be able to purchase those shares before the common public. And the reason they do that is because it's a dilutive effect. So when they issue new shares, your shares are worth less than they were previously. So this is why you get this right. Another right is to inspect the books and records. So there's two different type of records that you have the right to inspect. One is called the 10-K. It's an annual report. It's an audited report every company goes through. You have the right to inspect that record. You also have the right to inspect a 10-Q, which is a quarterly report, and these are unaudited. So those are just to kind of check on the health of a company throughout the year, but it is unaudited, so just keep that in mind. You also have the right to transfer ownership. In other words, you don't have to keep your stock for a certain period of time. You can sell it, you can give it, you can do whatever you want with it. You can transfer that ownership. Okay. Now moving on, trading in the market. So there are two types of trading features. One is negotiable and the other redeemable. So negotiable are when you buy and sell between two investors, you negotiate a price. Okay. Someone says, I will sell ABC shares for $100, and you come and say, no, how about 90? And you negotiate a price. Now this negotiation is happening between every investor in the world at the same time. But it is a negotiation. You don't have to buy at a set price. Not like you go to a fast food restaurant and they say it's $10 for like a burger, and that is what it is. Not the case here. Another type of, so we have redeemable, and these are bought and sold directly with the issuer. So we're negotiable, you're trading between another investor. With redeemable, you're going to the issuer themselves and saying, hey, I want to buy your issues. So some features of negotiable are we typically use brokerages to facilitate these transactions. So you don't go to an investor themselves, you go through like a Schwab account or a Fidelity account or a Vanguard account or M1 Finance or this and that, Robinhood, Acorns, whatever. These organizations facilitate these trades between you and other investors, and they match all up so you can buy and share. Okay. Now, because these organizations are doing this, they're going to charge a commission. So if I want to buy shares, they're going to tack on a price, so it's going to cost me a little bit extra. And when you're selling shares, then same kind of thing. Okay. Now, with the advent of zero commission things, they kind of embedded these commissions into other avenues. So they charge $0 commissions directly, but they still recoup that money in other places, and that'll be for another video. Now for redeemable, these are typically reserved for mutual funds, and unit investment trusts, which are unit investment trusts are basically like a mutual fund but without management. Okay, mutual funds, they are a portfolio of different investments. These typically charge a sales charge. You might also hear it as a principal fee. Okay, and one of the biggest things you're going to hear is the POP. Okay, POP, and that is the net asset value plus any sales charge. The net asset value being every single day they're going to take all of their assets, they're going to subtract their liabilities, boom, net asset value. And since investors are buying and trading and they're selling and whatnot daily, that NAV value is going to increase or decrease. Okay, so one thing to remember about these is when you're selling these shares, you're going to sell at the next NAV value. So if the NAV today is like $10 and you want to sell and you want to lock in the price, it's not going to be $10. It could be more or it could be less. It depends on the next day's NAV value. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're buying like mutual funds and whatnot. All right, so settlement. So settlement is the day the stock is in your possession. Okay, typically in the US we go by regular way settlement, which is T+1. So the day you make the trade plus 1 business day is when you're gonna have the stock in your hands, in your account. It's yours. Okay, now the stock market, we're going to talk about 2 different aspects of the stock market. One is the primary stock market, or just primary market. This is your initial public offerings, or IPOs. Okay, they're known as issuer transactions. So when a company first decides to go public and they issue like 1 million shares or whatever, that's going to be an IPO. You'll buy directly from them. Typically, it's going to be massive corporations that are buying these IPOs so they can sell them to us, the investors. Which leads us to the secondary market. This is the market that you and I will typically exist in. This is typically called the stock market. So proceeds go to the selling investor. So like IPO and a bank will buy the shares. Cool. And then the bank says, all right, we're going to sell these shares to people and they're going to make a bit of money, right? So we're getting the second-hand product, hence secondary market. Okay. All right. So stock splits and dividends. Okay, there's 2 different types of splits: forward split and reverse split. A forward split happens when your shares increase but your price will decrease. Okay, so if you have 100 shares and the company says, hey, I want to do a forward split, then your shares going to increase. You're going to get 150 shares. Woohoo! But we got to maintain the value of your position. So you get more shares, but the price of all of your shares will decrease. So not so nice. But it could be nice. Maybe if you want to buy a bunch of shares for cheap, it could be a good time to get in your position. Okay. Or if you expect it's going to grow a lot, then having more shares is going to be nice because you'll be able to make more money in the long term. Reverse shares is the reverse. It's when your shares go down, but your price increases to compensate. So you have 100 shares, they decide to do a reverse split, And so now you have 50 shares of stocks. That sucks. But each share is worth more. So pretty good. If it's still very popular and the share price increases, you can sell your 50 for some profit. No harm done. It's something to be aware of. Okay. Now, these splits are going to require shareholder vote. So a company can't just decide to split their stock. The stock dividend is you're not paid in cash. Okay, so whenever you have a dividend, typically you're going to get cash in your account. It's going to grow, blah, blah, blah. It's great. A stock dividend is where instead of cash, you're going to be paid stock. So you have 100 shares of ABC share, and instead of paying you cash, like 50 cents a share, they might pay you, hey, you're going to get X amount of stock per position. So every 100 shares, you might get like 2 extra shares or whatnot. Okay. So when they do that, your shares will increase, but your price per share will decrease. Okay. The goal of splits and stock dividend is that your overall position is the same. Okay. There's no free anything. So if you're given more stock, your price decreases, and vice versa. You're given less stock, then your price will increase to compensate. All right, let's talk about ADRs and foreign investment. An ADR is it's a way to invest into foreign markets without actually buying foreign companies, stock in foreign companies. So typically they're held by banks that have access to these foreign markets. Okay, now they come with higher risk, of course, but it's a good way to diversify. Okay, now when you go and you buy these ADRs from an institution, just know that you're not actually buying the shares of the company. You're buying what's called a certificate that you can redeem for dividends or cash or whatnot in the future. Okay, so because you're not buying the position itself, you're just buying a certificate that represents the position. You don't gain access to voting rights. You don't gain any preemptive rights. You don't gain any of those rights that we talked about earlier, inspection to records, because you didn't buy the company's shares. Okay. So ADR is a way to diversify and gain exposure into foreign markets. Okay. Now, when you buy into foreign investments, okay, whether it's through an ADR or a mutual fund or ETFs, there are many avenues. So some are like third world or emerging markets. These are markets like Russia, China, India that are growing. They're still, you can think of it like industrial age, and they're just starting to catch up, where the potential to 10x your money is there. But there's a lot of risk, because with great potential comes great risk. Okay, it's a growing, but that means there's also going to be a lot of failures. So we just got to be very vigilant and careful where you're investing your money. And there's a lot of complexity, whether it's political complexity, social complexity, cultural complexity. When you invest your money into different countries, there are different considerations as to whether that company will be successful or not. All right. Now, so all that was with common stock. Okay. We're going to take a pause here. And then next video, we'll talk about preferred stock and then the typical investors. Okay. So thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please hit that like, and please comment any ideas you have, any opinions and whatnot. I accept them all. So thank you for your time, and y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one.